Coming up next on the CHGO Cubs podcast, presented by Toyota and Bet365. Woo! 3 straight over the Brewers. That was too close for comfort. The kids can play. Ray can pitch. And new details about what's going on with Kyle Tucker. We'll dig into all of it next on CHGO Cubs. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs podcast, driven by Toyota, Let's Go Places, and Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Use the code CHGO365 at sign-up. And what a night this is. 3 straight wins over the Brewers, 4-3, a heart stopper at Wrigley Field. This game had a little bit of everything. Palencia gave me palpitations at the end. Matt Shaw is the real deal, it seems, and the kids have turned it around for the Cubs. Plus, Jesse Rogers with the breaking news during the game that Kyle Tucker has a hairline fracture on his hand between his ring finger and his pinky. We'll talk more about that. We'll see if Craig Counsell addresses it after the game. Luke Stuckmeyer, Joey Christopoulos, Sarah running the 1s and 2s for us. Hi to everybody in the live YouTube chat. Who still believes in the division? Some never gave up. Some are being reeled back in. And some are saying, nah, it's still over, but this is a lot more fun and it looks a lot more like a playoff team that they should be. Hi to everybody in the chat, by the way, at the all-new CHGO Cubs YouTube page. Make sure you like, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a total stranger. That's right. We do have the tiebreaker now, Robert Nash. They've clinched the season series. So the Cubs are down 6 games with 35 to play in the season. 1 more against the Brewers tomorrow. And in addition to that, they have the tiebreakers. So technically, I guess you could maybe say they're 5 back. And we'll see how it all goes. We already have a Toyota Super Chat, $1.99 from Ramon, 1987. Where would the Cubs be without Colin Rea? That's his 10th win. We'll get to Colin Rea in a bit. He was one of the stars tonight. Didn't have great control, walked a lot of guys, but man, that was a wild win, Joey.
Luke, it's great to see you. Shout out to Sarah. Really good thumbnail. Yeah. I love to see Chicago over Milwaukee. That's what I like to see.
That was greater than.
I know that's right.
I know my math.
It
was beautiful. Yeah, it took us a while. We got on the whiteboard to figure out, did they actually win the season series?
What was the stat, Luke, that you said before the show started? You said this is the first time the Brewers have lost 3 in a row.
It's like something like 3 in a row. I heard them say it at the end of the game, and I don't know if that's right or not. But
I know that's right, though.
But it's 4 out of 5 for the Brewers. I know that's right. They have lost 4 of their last 5 games, 3 of them to your Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, they should hand out some free burgers while they're at it for that 3-game losing streak, courtesy of the Chicago Cubs. Luke, so many things to cover. It's going to be a wide spectrum of emotions for me today. I came into the office today. I was feeling a little down because you know what? The way schedules work sometimes, you know, you get put on Cubs games. I get to work with Luke. I love working with Luke, but I feel like I've been doing a lot of post games where we've been losing. We've been bummed out. I watched the show last night, a doubleheader sweep. You guys, you and Justin Roman, eating the cookies, having a great time. And I said, I want a piece of that. I want a piece of Caissie's cookies. And thankfully, thank you for the super chat. Colin Rea showed up tonight. Great pitching performance. We only got 4 hits, but we got 4 runs. That's all that matters to take down the Brewers. We go for that big 4 out of 5 takedown with Shota on the mound tomorrow. And slowly but surely, the Cubs are kind of turning the corner.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that they've won me back. You got to do a little bit more than that than just to win a couple games by a low score margin, by a 1-run margin. But it's nice to see certain players, Matt Shaw, show up. Ooh. And it's an exciting time. It's a great night.
Speaking of Matt Farrington in the chat caught that stat that I was talking about. First time they've lost 3 in a row since May 7th to the 10th.
That hurts.
Okay.
I know, that's right.
That's right. Yep. I know that's right. I thought Joey was going to get out of control and I was going to have to hit him with the spray, but he cooled down just in time that I was able to hold it off, but possibly it could come.
Yeah, keep that in the holster.
Later in the show.
Where this goes.
Man, it really makes you wonder what would have happened if Cade Horton was able to pitch that whole first game, because after that point, the Cubs just plummeted in game 1 of the season, or series, I should say. They've clinched this series. They've clinched the season series. And a lot's going right. Matt Shaw, if yesterday, again, I may have saved the season with the Caissie cookies.
It's possible.
Some people say, some people are saying. I'm not, but some people are saying. Shaw snacks. I don't know what I need to eat for a snack, but it was Shaw facts for the Blackhawks. I'm thinking now Shaw snacks.
Shaw snacks.
Every time
little
he does
tiny
something.
little bits, because every game he
Little
does
snacks.
a little something every game.
So I don't know, Sarah. We might want to think about brownie bites. That's a Shaw snack.
Mm-hmm.
You know, little things like that.
We need
Combos.
to do like Luke Sweets or something like that. You know how
Stucky Sweets.
Yeah, Stucky Sweets.
I'm
Instead
into
of
that.
Barstool and the pizza stuff, I want you to start trying.
Well,
stuff
I did
around
the brownie
city.
review. I don't know if you saw it at the rooftop thing.
No, it was amazing.
6.5, I think. We already have a couple of extra super chats.
Yes.
We have one from Never Sell the Team Ricketts who hit us up last night as
Welcome
well.
back.
$20. I feel bad for the cardiologists in Chicago tonight. Lots of heart attacks going to be coming in after that. Matt Shaw is my daddy. The Cubs are taking this division back. Reality, spray me all you want, bro. I'm thirsty. Right here for you. Never Sell the Team Ricketts. Reality spray.
Doctor, we have another person on line 5. It's another Palencia. We have another Palencia on line 5.
Yeah, Ramon back again with another $1.99. Says, a little concerned about Palencia. Your thoughts? You know what, Ramon? Let's wait on that for a second. Let's just soak in 3 in a row against Milwaukee. We'll get to Palencia. Did he give me a little heart palpitation? Yes, I was a little concerned.
Yeah.
I was more than a little concerned. But Shaw did it all tonight, okay? He had the incredible 11-pitch walk, which led to the first runs in the game, right, where the Cubs score. Then, on the home run by Michael Busch, who was also great, then he makes the barehanded play that also helps save a run. And then he hits the solo homer, his 11th of the season, and his 9th since the All-Star break. Thank goodness they stuck with this kid.
Yeah, 100%.
Don't listen to idiots like me. Thank goodness they stuck with this kid.
Well, to be very fair, if we want to, we're going to cast maybe a couple stones at Craig Counsell before this is over when we talk about Kyle Tucker. But as you look back in retrospect, him going down to the minors and having his own version of a reset, and even when he got hot for a week, they said, no, stay down there a little bit longer. Turns out it worked, and they've stuck with him, and the patience is there. I'm also going to throw out there, too, as well. He had a great, 12-pitch at-bat against Mizorowski. Started off as a bunting situation. Almost got his face absolutely melted off by some high-riding fastballs from Mizorowski. Worked that walk, and then brought up the situation where Busch was able to hit that bases-loaded thing. So, I mean, you know what they say, like king in the north? He's like king in the 9 spot. Right? Is there a better 9-spot hitter right now in Major League Baseball? And there's my dad in the chat, and I have to do it. I have to do it now. At the All-Star break, my dad, he sometimes likes to give me a hard time, likes to run me up. He literally goes, telling you right now, JoJo, Matt Shaw, second half MVP. Write it down. And at the time, I was like, all right, 220 hitter. If he's our MVP, we got problems. But no, Matt Shaw might be a solution right now. And king in the 9 spot. He does it all. He's doing it all. And he's a young player. He's a rookie, folks. This is good news.
Bobby Blanco says, no more crying about the deadline. Crying about the deadlines for losers. Somebody else earlier was saying that we can't mention Matt Shaw because we've been pooping on him, they said. Where was that one? CSFX Studio says, you guys pooped on Shaw for months. Keep my boy's name out of your mouths. Now, that is only partially true.
I've been a Matt Shaw fan literally since day one.
If you remember in our preseason predictions, I predicted he was going to be National League Rookie of the Year.
Yes, you did.
Okay, there we go.
We have the receipts.
Then all I said was he was struggling. They did the right thing sending him down. And all I said was I wasn't going to be against getting Gino Suarez to play third base and let Shaw become the super utility guy that now Willie Castro has kind of become for the team with that addition. But as Shaw started to progress right before the trade deadline, I also said on the show, at one point it looked like the priority of adding a third baseman because it looked like the obvious hole on the team. But as Shaw started to come out of it after the break and coming back, it clearly had become not the priority, and for everybody else, it had become starting pitching. Now, if you want to say I've been wrong about Cade Horton, I'd say that's probably more true.
I think when you look at Matt Shaw, a couple of other things just really quickly was I think we wanted to see more power in the lineup. Matt Shaw has supplied that, but we would still like to see some more power in this lineup as it stands.
From the main bats.
And the other part about that, too, is I'm maintaining this, is I like them as solid baseball players, but Ian Happ and Dansby Swanson just don't necessarily earn every single at-bat out there. You could have moved Matt Shaw around the lineup a little bit. And also, my final point on Matt Shaw, that this is a credit to Matt Shaw.
Oh, yeah.
And not to whether you're right on a take or I'm right on a take. It doesn't matter.
I don't care.
He's on his 11th swing this year, right? He's made so many different modifications, these subtle little changes of whether his hands are next to his ear, how high his toe tap is, what his timer is in terms of timing up with fastball, how quick he can get his bat through the zone. This guy has worked incredibly hard. This is probably his 10th or 11th iteration of a swing this year. He's locked in. It's paying off. And it's a credit to him. Not so much of what we were seeing early on in the year, because the swing that we saw in April and May is not the swing that we're seeing right now.
RDS says, Michael Busch had half the hits and 3/4 of the RBIs tonight, yet barely gets a mention. We just started the show, man.
Hey, buckle up, buddy.
We're
on for the next 50 minutes, guys.
Props to Matt Shaw. Michael Busch came up with the big hit, yes. And it's funny because Craig Counsell was just asked about, he got a little testy, why is Shaw still batting ninth? Because of this run he's on. And his answer was, Michael Busch is a really good hitter. We like him getting more at-bats. Now, that doesn't really answer why Shaw can't move up a little bit, but that was his answer. And here's the thing, and I don't know what the answer is. Shaw has been terrific in the 9 spot. Does that mean you should leave him there so nothing changes? Or does that mean you should move him up because you want more production? I don't know, but that's why you're paying Craig Counsell. There has been a lot of questioning, especially at the beginning of this series, about Counsell. What's he doing? How's he going to get them out of this? Why is he being paid $40 million? Where's he putting his stamp on this team? I will say this, and somebody said it in the chat, and we suggested it about 3-4 weeks ago. When Shaw started to heat up, is it possible you get out of Matt Shaw what you got out of PCA? It clicked at the end of last season, and that then carried over into a great first half for PCA, and he's trying to figure it out now. Possibly, we might see Shaw be that guy. It's also like when Nico got called up that first time, the very first time, brought some spark to the team. It's not just one guy, and that's hopefully the way this is going to go in the final 35 games of the season and plus, is that multiple people will be coming through on a nightly basis, because we've gone through a stretch here where almost nobody other than Nico and occasionally Matt Shaw was coming through. Now we're starting to get the Busch home runs. Now we're getting Owen Caissie coming in.
Credit where credit's due as well when you talk about, you mentioned PCA last year, Miguel Amaya last year, Matt Shaw now this year. Young players developing at the major league level, getting hundreds of at-bats, going through adversity, struggling, and Craig Counsell, Dustin Kelly, and the Cubs, I don't know if it's coincidence, more as it's maybe now becoming a little bit more of a habit of these young players starting to turn the corner a little bit with a month to go and playing their best baseball at the end of the season. It's great to see from Matt Shaw. Now, obviously, can we get Seiya Suzuki doing the same thing now? Can I get a little greedy here? But no, again, Matt Shaw, Michael Busch, big stars of the game for sure.
Where would you bat Matt Shaw moving forward? Let us know in the live YouTube chat as we head to break. Afterwards, we're going to talk about Colin Rea, Kyle Tucker, and more. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Hey, Cubs fans, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5 win or lose. So sign up and use the code CHGO365 to deposit $10. You place that bet for $5, you get $150 in bonus bets, whether it wins or loses. They also have a little thing called the Bet365 early payout offer. You're a winner if your team goes up by 17 points with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. So NFL preseason, baby, bring it on. Use the code CHGO365 when you sign up for the 100% parlay boost. Double your winnings or parlay with Bet365's 100% parlay boost. Remember, new customers $150 bonus bets when you win $5 when you bet $5 win or lose. So sign up using code CHGO365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Remember, you must be 21 plus or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling, referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in-app only.
At Toyota's national sales event, we've got a long lineup of vehicles for you for summer fun. 4Runner's an off-road icon. Tundra hauls it all with its twin-turbo engine, and Tacoma takes adventure straight to the top. Want to ride with sizzling hot style and efficiency? The all-hybrid Camry is revving and ready to ride. Visit your local Chicagoland Toyota dealer or Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Joey, what a time it is to sign up to be a CHGO diehard.
Perfect time.
Upgrade your fandom today. Get it done before Bears season and the Cubs playoff push. Get access to our exclusive written content, a free t-shirt, plenty of discounts on future merch and events, plus access to our CHGO Discord lounge where the conversation never stops. Go to allchgo.com for the latest information on how you can join the thousands of diehards already in our community. We can't wait to connect with you on an even higher level. Welcome back. 4-3 Cubs, 3 straight wins over the Brewers. The Cubs could make it 4 to finish off that series, and that, if they can win the final game of the series, would cut it to a 5-game lead with 34 to play. Just as importantly, it's keeping them right where they need to be in that wild card standings, right, Joey?
Yeah, absolutely. And the offense didn't exactly hit the ball hard tonight. Matt Shaw, obviously, that home run. Michael Busch, that huge bases clearing double.
Yeah.
But I did see something that I did like tonight, and I'm just looking for little breadcrumbs and little signals here about this Cubs offense maybe turning the corner. And we've talked about how they need to hit for more power. I love it when they steal bases. But I think what was so important about what they did early on in the season was they did a great job of working counts, taking pitchers deep into games, getting that pitch count up, and getting on base. My question for you is, Mizorowski did not have his best stuff tonight. And Matt Shaw, 12-pitch at bat. They were able to work some counts. Now, the top half of the lineup, in my opinion, kind of maybe got a little too greedy. Ian Happ and Seiya Suzuki specifically. I think they swung at too many pitches early on in the count. But my question for you is, could you possibly buy the concept of, did the Chicago Cubs work the count tonight? Did they allow the wildness of Mizorowski to come to them? And couldn't they take anything away from this game in terms of getting back to a little bit more of that discipline offensively and maybe getting some better results?
I mean, our teammate Kevin Wells talks about the walks all the time. Says when they were at their best, they were getting like 4 walks, 5 walks, 6 walks a game.
Yeah. And Mizorowski kind of made it easy on them tonight. But can that build a good habit possibly moving forward?
Yeah, but it's easier to do it when you're feeling better at the plate. So hopefully that kind of confidence is coming, right? Like, it's easy to press and start swinging out of your comfort zone when you're trying to turn things around, just like Kyle Tucker and some of the others have done. So, yeah, maybe they could have had a couple more walks tonight, but the Shaw at bat is exactly what you want to see. Even if you don't end up walking there, you're taking his pitch count and cranking it up. You're making him stress more and more throughout the at-bats. And you're more likely to get a better pitch to hit. So, like, I like what I've seen from the offense the last couple games. The Cubs have played really good baseball the last couple games. And that's good news because the first game in this series was as low as I've seen it. That's as low as I've been on the Cubs all year.
So happy they did not play Monday night.
I didn't like the way they played against the Pirates, and I didn't like what I saw in Game 1, obviously, against the Brewers. And there's been a bigger sample size of that. It is now time for our Taking the Temp segment. Your trusted local experts, Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. We said it at the very top of the show. Where would they be without Colin Rea? That sounds silly because he's like supposed to be your swing guy or your emergency starter. But with Steele down and then Shota down and other guys struggling and then Tyone down, he's been outrageously valuable to this team. Is he an ace? No, stop. Look at what he is. He's a 5th, 6th, 7th starter on your team, but he's been forced into this spot and he's given you, did you say 10 wins?
Second in the team in wins. 10
and
wins. He's now 10-5.
I know people don't think wins matter anymore, but if your 5th starter or 6th starter has 10 wins, he's doing his job. And he did it tonight. Not like he still walked 5 guys. There was a lot of traffic, but he got the double play when he needed it. He got the strikeout when he needed it. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Javier Assad, the ass man, last year.
Yeah.
Traffic all over the place, anxiety all over the place, but somehow he would get out of the situations, and he's done a really good job of that.
Well, and he did a couple of things that I think go beyond the box score, right? They brought him back out in the 6th inning. So when you talk about a Javier Assad who maybe has some shorter starts out there, when you're talking about this long 5-game series, this doubleheader, a lot of people coming up, a lot of people coming down, I think that some of those pitches, and obviously he was a product of his own design there with why the pitch count got up so much with the walks. But again, I mean, this is a guy with 10 wins, second on the team, might not be in the rotation next week because they might stick with Javier Assad. Or maybe Assad becomes the swingman. But what we kind of highlighted a couple shows ago is that the depth, starting pitching-wise, is getting better. These guys, Tyone and Assad coming back, gives Counsell a lot of different options. And this also sort of reminds me of, if you go back to like the 2000, 2008 teams, we talk a lot about, you know, the resurgence of Ryan Dempster. We talk about the 12-6 curveball of Ted Lilly. This just kind of reminds me a lot of those Jason Marquis years. You know, Jason Marquis, I believe, went 23-18 in 2 seasons. He won 12 games for them in 2007. I think he won 11 for them in 2008. ERA was a little bit over 4. Colin Rea's got his right under 4. But it's very ho-hum. And when you talk about those back-of-the-rotation matchups, those are the games that can turn into 50-50 games because we talk about it. Matthew Boyd and Shota, when they're on the mound, we need to win those games. But when Colin Rea's out there, it could be more of a 50-50. To go 10-5 at the very least in those starts in terms of decisions, it's been a huge pickup for the Chicago Cubs. I don't know how much he's going to factor in a playoff series per se, but right now he's one of the key pieces that's going to help you possibly get there.
Yeah,
and that cannot go unmentioned.
He absolutely has played a huge role in putting them in position to be able to potentially go after a playoff spot, and they're in the driver's seat for at least getting there.
Yes.
I don't know how they would use him in the postseason if he's part of that. I guess that depends on how guys like Ben Brown are pitching, whether Assad's able to bounce back and be effective. Like we'll just see.
Maybe he's a break glass in case of emergency and traffic.
It's good to have him around. Good to have him there. I want to talk about the bullpen too because I thought Rea was great. I think he's been super valuable this year. The bullpen now, in 3 wins in 2 days over the Brewers, I believe that's 10 innings and 1 run.
Impressive.
And I know the question was asked early on. A lot of people, and I even said palpitations, Palencia. Are you concerned about Denny P? No, I'm not. Somebody in the chat mentioned, and I agree with this, because once they went out there, bang, 99, and then he got it. Now, was it almost, it looked like a snow cone from Nico? I'm glad Nico was playing second base. I'm really glad Nico Horner was playing second base. I like Palencia as the closer. I worry about him when the pitches start to increase through the inning, like you would any pitcher. But it feels like one of his first blown saves after a good stretch was when he pitched on back-to-back days, and it was too many pitches, and I knew it wasn't good, and he got near the end, and then he just ran out of gas. I was a little worried that was happening tonight.
It got a little scary there for half a second.
It got a little scary there.
He worked his way into the heart of the Brewers lineup, and Contreras came up, and we said, oh, dear God, help us all. Let's just I'm going to reverse engineer this just a little bit really quick. You know, I had to just remind myself mid-sentence that Ryan Pressly was on this team at one point this year. But what's interesting about the Palencia situation is, at the very least, when you're talking about that pitch count, I think the Chicago Cubs now have two very viable plan B and plan C options if they need to give him a blow or kind of space him out a little bit to keep him at his best. We've seen Andrew Kittredge close down a couple games now, and we've seen Brad Keller come in and close down and pick up a save if possible. So I don't think this has to be, as we're hopefully chasing down either a division or a wild card, this thing where you have to feel like you have to run Palencia out there 3 days in a row.
Right.
I don't think you have to do that at all. My favorite part about tonight, though, wasn't the heartburn, and it wasn't the feeling in my stomach. It was that moment where I believe he yanked a fastball, and they took it to 3-1, and he came back, and he was able to throw his slider off speed in the zone and get it back.
Yep.
And look, closers, and I'll tell you, Daniel Palencia, he probably will blow one more save before the season is over. The thing with closers is it's all about timing, baby. You just want to make sure that it doesn't happen in those really big, huge moments that cost not just the team one game, but maybe a series or maybe a right to play in the postseason. He is going to have these bad starts again, but that was a really great in-sequence bounce back from Daniel Palencia for a guy who we all know throws 102, right? Can he harness it? Can he keep it in the zone? That's been the MO on him his whole career. He started to get into that mode a little bit, and he was able to calm himself down, come back with a breaking pitch, and then he was able to trust his fastball again. Strike one, strike two to Contreras, was able to get out of there. So I think some incremental growing moments right there in that moment. But yeah, I mean, Palencia might be another wild ride before it's all said and done.
Ryan Lambert says that Palencia's giving him some ALLCITY vibes, I believe.
Oh, come on, Ryan. I love to see you in the chat, man, but
he throws way harder. Way harder, better stuff.
Better vibes, the whole thing.
But it
bitter
is
necklaces.
Hey, think about this. And the chat's right. I've seen the names popping up as it's scrolling by as we're watching during the show. Keller's been great. Theobar's been great. Pomerantz has been great. Right?
Yes.
And when you think about the bullpen and the bit of a roller coaster it's been this season, because there was good, there was bad, they've had to get rid of guys. But think about that. If you going into the season, if you were to tell me that not only Steele was going to be out for the year, but Shota was going to miss 2 months, and then Tyone was going to miss a month plus, and out of the bullpen, Pressly would be DFA'd.
Eli Morgan would give you nothing all year.
Eli Morgan would give you nothing. Merriweather would be DFA'd, and Porter Hodge might not make it back. I would have said, well, who's going to pitch in the bullpen? I mean, I didn't have this confidence in Palencia because it was so inconsistent before. Like, you saw the potential, but I honestly still thought that Porter Hodge had a better chance of being the closer at the beginning of the season than I would have said Palencia. And then next, I still would have said probably Pressly or somebody else. Keller.
If you could hand out an MVP for the bullpen today and tonight, just for right now as we're sitting here August 20th, I would have to go with Brad Keller. Because Brad Keller gives them
Palencia 1A, 1B.
Right, because I just feel like Keller gives them this versatility of they can matchup base him, where if you want to bring him up against a 3-4-5 in the 6th or 7th inning, he can do it. If you want him to go multiple innings, he can do it. If you want him to close the game from here and there, he can do it. And it has allowed other people to fit into some roles and thrive. And I'm not saying he's breathing down Palencia's neck, but if you had to give Palencia a game off, which they have here and there, I mean, they gave him 5 or 6 days off not too long ago.
Right.
You're able to back off of him a little bit and build him back up. Yeah, I think Brad Keller, I would probably say, is the MVP of the bullpen right now. And Caleb Theobar, honorable mention. Honorable mention.
If you're talking about Jed and Carter's 5-star moves, Brad Keller has been one of them.
Absolutely.
I saw that Michael in the chat says Cubs are going to win the division. They got their mojo back. Ooh. What do you think in the chat? Do you agree with Michael? Can they still win the division? Let us know. We'll talk Kyle Tucker in a second, but first a word from our sponsors.
Cubs fans, thinking about playing hooky tomorrow? Thinking about maybe going to the Cubs-Brewers game? Wait it out with Game Time. Game Time makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer you get to first pitch. They have killer last-minute deals, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Easy to find and buy MLB tickets for every kind of event in your area. Views from all seats in the venue, lowest price guarantee. They even have event cancellation protection, job loss protection, etc. Last minute deals, save up to 60% off buying last minutes for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. What more can you say? Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CHGO. You'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Download that Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
You know the moment, the one where you realize you left your favorite sunglasses at the beach, on the roof of the car, or at a gas station 3 states away. I've been there way too many times. But then I found Shady Rays, and it changed the game. Sunglasses made for real life. Seriously good-looking, polarized, durable, and not stupid expensive. Here's the wild part. If you lose or break them, even on day one, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair. No guilt trip, just replacements. Now I actually wear my sunglasses without fear. On hikes, at concerts, on a boat, on the golf course. Looking for my ball in the rough? That's what I do. Shady Rays has eyewear that has your back. We've teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you an exclusive offer. Head to shadyrays.com and use the code CHGO for 35% off your polarized sunglasses. Great shades. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by more than 300,000 people. Yeah, the vibes are back. 4-3 over the Brewers, 3 straight wins over Milwaukee. They take the season series now. They have that over the Brewers, and they can win 4 in a row tomorrow. Cubs 6 games back. I asked them before the break, what about the division? Is this, where are we at here? Okay. I'm still on the side of only worry about the wild card, worry about getting to the postseason. Yes. Did I want the division to be the Cubs? Yes. Did I think it was going to be the Cubs? Yes. But the Brewers, give them credit, went on a remarkable run that is going to be tough to turn around in now 35 games.
35 games to go. We got one more against the Brewers tomorrow.
So let's just count our chicken and say Shota delivers.
Yes.
And they can win 4 in a row.
Yes.
Cut the lead to 5 with 34 games to go. And the tiebreaker.
So here's where I'm landing on this, and I hope Cubs fans come with me on this, is that if you believe in this Cubs team, and I do, if you think that the offense is going to turn around, and I do think that the offense is going to turn around, winning the division isn't what we're going after here this season. We want to make noise in the postseason. And all I will say is, and you guys correctly pointed this out last night, that the Brewers have gotten so hot that they really have separated themselves across any other major league team right now in any other major league division. They'd be those 5-6 games up against any other team right now. So for me personally, I think as a Cubs fan, I want to get my house in order. I'm kind of done looking across the street at the Brewers' house and admiring their lawn and, oh, wow, they just put up this great neon sign and, holy cow, they got a pool table in the garage. This is so great. Because here's the honest-to-God truth, is that with 34 games left to play, or let's just say it's the 35 now, and let's just play a fun hypothetical game that the Milwaukee Brewers play about 500 baseball the rest of the way, and they go 18-17. To win the division for the Chicago Cubs, they'd have to go 25-10. Not impossible, right?
No.
Definitely not impossible.
And the Brewers' part is very possible. That they would come down from a hot streak, and they've already lost now 4 out of 5.
Peaking.
And as we suggested, even though I thought that, and I still think the division is over, I also think it's very possible the Brewers peak too early.
Right, and even if they stay on that course, even if the Brewers stay on that course, they're at 77 wins right now. If they get another 18, I'm not great at math, but that's about 95. That's 96 wins right there. If the Chicago Cubs get 93 or 94 wins and are playing great baseball with 10 days to go into the season, into that postseason, I think we're in great shape. And personally, I care a little bit less about the division. And I will tell you another thing. If you're so worried about the division, I can't wait to play the Brewers in the playoffs, right? I feel good as a Cubs fan right now about matching up with them, with their starting pitching, with our hitting, and our defense, which I think is just as good as theirs. I think we run the bases just as good as them. So I get the idea to track down the division and win it. I get all that, but this hot streak might be something that might make it a bit unattainable. And honestly, I'm okay with that. If the Chicago Cubs win 94 games and walk into the postseason rocking and rolling, and the Brewers are a 500-ish team or they've already peaked, I'll take it. Give me the wild card all day long.
I heard radio host Bart Winkler from Milwaukee last night.
Oh, don't get me started on Bart.
Saying that he was terrified of playing the Cubs in the postseason.
Really?
Yes. And I would agree that the opposite is not true. I do not believe Cubs fans are terrified of the Brewers.
Absolutely not.
That's how I think sort of the tables have turned, especially now that the unthinkable streak is over. If you would have caught him in the middle of that, you would have said yes. But I think they will come back to reality. Whether or not the Cubs can do their part and get there, we will find out. All I know is this much. Make sure you subscribe to the all-new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel, because we're going to be here on every step of the trip.
And this is getting real.
And have been.
This season's getting
real.
This is getting real.
You guys. Make sure you subscribe, like, tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a total stranger. Tell them about this show, how you can get in the live YouTube chat, join in on the conversation. Swaggy McNolix, that's not nice, saying bad things about Bart. Listen, I feel good about the Cubs as a playoff team. What I really feel good about is the way that they have bounced back these last 3 games. I just want to see them playing better baseball. I don't want to see them playing mid-baseball, which has sort of been we've had a pretty significant stretch of it. It seems like there's been some real spark coming from guys like Shaw, the playing of Caissie, Michael Busch with the hit tonight. Some of the pitchers have come up absolutely huge. Tyone was spectacular in his start. Couldn't have been a bigger start this season. And now we get Shota, our ace on the mound, for the final game of the season series tomorrow. Go ahead and win it. Start to put the pressure on them. See what Milwaukee's made of. I'm cool with that too. That would be really fun down the stretch. Now, the news came out during the game from about Kyle Tucker from Jesse Rogers, saying that he's been playing with a hairline fracture in his hand since early June, when he went into second base against the Reds, slid funny, and initial x-rays were fine. Then they found the hairline fracture. Don't even want to say it. And he's been playing through it. Thought he could play through it. Craig Counsell, after the game, confirmed the injury, confirmed the report from Jesse Rogers. Yes, they finally have admitted hairline fracture between the ring finger and the pinky finger. And it goes to what Jed Hoyer half told us the truth the other day when he said he's not hurt. Okay, well, Counsell says he is healed now. The hand is healed. But it's clearly led to some swing problems. And it's interesting. I don't know when he's coming back. I don't know if he's going to play tomorrow. Yeah. The way Caissie's playing, I would just let him sit out the whole series. But whatever they decide to do, fine. I'm not holding it against Kyle Tucker. I wouldn't have been one of the fans booing. I'm not complaining about the fans that did, because he didn't run down to first base. They were frustrated. The Cubs were the ones that told us he wasn't hurt. I think a lot of people watching the game said, he's got to be hurt. He's got to be hurt. And I don't blame a player for saying, I want to stick in there. I want to play. I don't. Do I think it can be viewed as selfish? Of course it can. Of course it can, because there's things like contracts and other things, but we also applaud the guy for saying he wants to play every day. To me, it's up to the team to do it. The team has to step in and say, you have a hairline fracture. Now your swing is off. We're shutting you down for 2 weeks. Look at his former teammate in Houston, Yordan Alvarez, also with a fracture, who's been out since like May.
Correct.
Now, the Astros are playing this a totally different way. They're thinking, we're going to get to the postseason. We got to get this guy right when it matters the most. That's what I want the Cubs to do now. You might have screwed up the way you handled this, okay? In hindsight, even to you might have screwed up the way you handled this injury with Kyle Tucker because you waited too long, you let him play through it, now it's messed up his swing. Now, the only thing you have to do, and it's probably the most important thing the Cubs can do, they have to get Kyle Tucker right. You got to get Tucker right, whether that means more time off, more healing. I don't care if it means a trip to Iowa to try and figure out the swing. I don't care if it means behind the scenes he's working on the swing and he's not playing. Whatever the right path is, Cubs, this is why you get the big money. This is why Counsell gets the big money. This is why Jed gets the extension. Make the right decision. Take a top 10 player in baseball and help him get back to that point before we run out of regular season games.
So the part that I will never understand is why they've been so government secretive about their best player having an injury.
I don't know.
And we all knew about the slide into second base on June 1st. Kyle Tucker had a great month of June. So I'm kind of confused a little bit about the timing of this, but I'm trying to kind of let the human element seep in a little bit here from this perspective. And you talked about the Houston Astros. For some context on this, if you wind the clocks back to last year, Kyle Tucker on June 3rd, funny timing, almost an anniversary for Kyle Tucker, slams a ball in Houston off of his shin. It hurts. They take him out of the game. He's considered day-to-day. He sits out for a few days. They do further imaging, and they take it from a shin contusion to saying that he has a hairline fracture in his shin. The Houston Astros immediately put him on the 60-day DL. Now, is that a little bit of we drafted and developed this guy? Maybe they feel like they have a little more autonomy, and they feel like maybe they run things a little bit differently there.
Yeah.
But if you look back, Brian McTaggart, a guy who covers the Astros, I'm looking at all these articles, and Kyle Tucker just after article talking about how he's trying to get back as quick as he can, about how he's trying to let them do certain things in the cage, let him start running. There's even a quote here from him on August 3rd. Another big development on Friday. This is from Brian McTaggart. Another big development on Friday came when Tucker said he didn't think he necessarily needed a minor league rehab assignment despite missing 3 months of baseball on August 3rd of 2024. So this is a thing that Kyle Tucker literally dealt with last year.
Yeah.
An injury that I'm sure hurt at the time. But when he says hairline fracture, he goes, come on, it can't be that bad, right? Houston Astros put him on the 60-day DL. Now we're talking about not a leg, but we're talking about a hand where the ring finger and the pinky finger, they find a hairline fracture. Could the relationship and some of the newness and freshness with Craig Counsell, Jed Hoyer, and Kyle Tucker, a relationship that they're trying to build that we kind of hope lasts for the next 7 to 10 years, did they maybe give Kyle Tucker a little bit too much autonomy to let him play through it? And then Kyle Tucker was seeing results, still feeling pain, and then when the mechanics and the production went south, now they're finally catching up to this fact that maybe we need to slow this down because maybe it is now affecting him mentally, maybe it's now affecting him physically. Also on top of the fact that they kind of did this with Dansby Swanson last year.
That's where
they let another veteran play a week or two too long to the detriment of the team and a deference to a veteran player's wishes that cost them not only production on the field but made the Cubs' on-field product a little bit less. And it's happening again.
Bobby Blanco was talking in the chat about is a player selfish and about Freddie Freeman getting shots in the postseason. For me, it's different in the postseason because you got nothing else to do. You got to get to the finish line. But during the season, I want my players to be selfish. I want them to go out there and play every day. It's like when Dansby signed here and he said, I'm playing every day. And at the time they were like, well, we'll talk about that. We'll see. That's right. That's the team's role, to do what's best for the player, even when they don't know what's best for them. Or they might, but they want to show their teammates that they're not going to ease off, right? So, to me, this is about the way the Cubs have handled it. And you could say it is about contracts and those things moving forward, but then you can't explain how they didn't learn from what they did with Dansby last year that wasn't correct. And so the tricky part of it, the part that's a little confusing is the really good June. The hairline fracture is there, but he's still playing well. It doesn't fully heal, and it's just not quite right. And now when things go bad, now it's a problem. So it's clearly what's influenced the change in his swing, right?
Yes. I want to also add that on June 29th, him slamming that ball off of his knee against the Royals.
He's feeling more than one
thing. I think there's something going on there, too, as well, because a lot of people are doing side-by-side internet sleuthing on what's going on with Kyle Tucker's swing right now. In his lower half, you can see a little bit of that turn on the front knee. It's flying open a little bit. He's a little bit stiffer on the back end. Is this the actual reason? I don't know. Craig Counsell says that he's putting himself in positions that are Kyle Tucker type counts, 3-1, getting his pitch and just not taking it and connecting on it the way that he wants to. To take words out of Craig's mouth, that could just be baseball.
Yeah.
But it's all these different factors. And something doesn't smell right, but I do understand that the Cubs are probably doing this now to try and protect their guy. And this also could be alluding to them trying to create a buffer of sitting Kyle Tucker out tomorrow and maybe moving on. I'd like to see him in the lineup on Friday in Anaheim. He's got good splits in that stadium. He's played 36 games, 36 RBIs, 19 extra base hits career in that stadium. I mean, if you want to get old school or meatball about it, sometimes in a different stadium you just see the ball a little bit better. So if he has good splits there, I'd bring him back, but maybe this is also a buffer that we're going to slow play this with Kyle Tucker. And don't expect him to maybe come back when you think that he's going to come back. And also when he does come back, do not automatically think that presto changeo, everything's okay with Kyle Tucker and he's going to start producing again.
Okay, Niren in the chat says, our buddy Niren says, they have all the data, measurements, etc. They should have nipped it in the bud once they noticed anything change. That's where I'm siding on this. That's how I feel about it. Again, I'm not blaming the player for wanting to be out there playing, especially when you're talking about what he went through last year and knowing that he's a free agent and that he wants to show everybody he can be healthy for a whole year. All of that stuff is natural human reaction. It's the franchise's job to notice when stuff's going wrong. You had Mark DeRosa on MLB Network yesterday say, it's pretty obvious he's rolling over on the ball. Like start hitting that curveball machine. His swing's off. He's rolling over on it. He's like, I'm sure the Cubs know it. I'm sure Kyle knows it. Okay, D-Row could clearly see it. We could see it with our eyes.
Pat Murphy can clearly see it.
Pat Murphy comes out and says, the guy's hurt. I don't have any information about it, but he's hurt. He's too good. He doesn't want to say anything. That's right. And the team knew he was hurt. That's what I don't understand. When it starts to go south, why let it go as far south as you did? I said yesterday, the Cubs are to blame. I'm not blaming the fans for the booing at Wrigley Field of Kyle Tucker after the 0-for-4. I'm blaming the Cubs. They're the ones that let it deteriorate the way it deteriorated. And especially now knowing that they've admitted finally that there is an injury only because Jesse proved it. It's frustrating. And I actually feel for Tucker.
I do too, because good news is, and I mentioned this on Monday, good news is Kyle Tucker isn't Ketel Marte, like where he was asking out of games when he wasn't injured and coming up to the manager and being like, hey, I'm not feeling right, take me out of the lineup. Kyle Tucker we're learning about Kyle Tucker right now, and I think the Cubs have known this for a while, that you probably need to drag him out of the lineup to get him healthy. I mean, my only question is, and I've posed this before, is hairline fracture. They're saying it's healed now. So I'm hoping, and maybe we'll hear from Kyle Tucker, that hopefully he's pain-free, right? And that's our hope. If he isn't pain-free, though, this is something that's going to linger the rest of the season. I mean, this isn't going to go away. I'm sorry, but 3 or 4 days off isn't going to really make it happen here. And let's pull up, Sarah, if you want, we could show what Jesse Rogers posted to ESPN a little bit earlier here. Tucker was injured while sliding into second base against the Cincinnati Reds on June 1st.
Ugly slide.
X-rays on his right finger were initially negative. The team indicated it was a jammed finger, but further imaging showed a slight fracture on the top of his hand near where the pinky and ring finger meet, according to sources familiar with the injury. Cough, cough, probably doctors. Re-imaging done in mid-June showed the injury was healing, but it was still impacting Tucker, who may have begun favoring his hand by then, leading to poor mechanics. Look, and I'll just say it. Like, Kyle Tucker went through the same thing with his shin last year. The Houston Astros did further imaging, saw the hairline fracture, and shut him down. I know the shin and the hand is a different thing, but looks like the Cubs probably met with Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker said, I want to play with it. He had some production. Mechanics got out of whack. Maybe it got a little mental on him. So now you got physical and mental. It's all kind of building. It's all getting a little worse. Next thing you know, you roll a ground ball straight to the first baseman. You're out by 88 feet. You don't run to first base and you're getting booed. So this is a little bit what happens when you let that problem fester and continue. And sometimes you have to protect these players from their own selves.
Yeah, I just don't I don't understand it in professional sports. I guess in football where you're trying to hide an injury so somebody's not targeting it. I think the
NHL
hockey
as well.
upper body, lower body thing is ridiculous. But I don't understand why they weren't just honest about it.
Wouldn't that be more protecting the player if you were just like, hey,
you're not doing him any favors? Like Tyler in the chat said, hey, the fans didn't know that Tucker was hurt. No, we all sort of speculated that Tucker was hurt because of that slide and the foul ball, and we didn't know which it was, but we assumed his finger was still bothering him because it doesn't make sense that his swing just went awry. So, okay, we didn't know 100% that he was hurt. And then Jed Hoyer said he's healthy very recently. And then and somebody said, well, he wasn't asked. He was just on Tuesday. Tucker said, I'm fine. I've played for the most part every game this year. I'm fine going out there. So he didn't want to say that's what it was. But clearly it's impacted his swing. The thing that makes the final straw on this be so frustrating, that really pushes me over the edge about the whole thing, is that if you didn't have something to fix his spot, for instance, if you had nobody to call up and take that spot, you had every outfield spot struggling. PCA was struggling, Happ was struggling, Suzuki was struggling, Tucker's got a fracture you're not telling us about on his hand, and you had Owen Caissie sitting at AAA smoking 22 home runs and being blistering hot, playing good defense, and he's your top prospect, and for whatever reason, you didn't want to bring him up. Well, I said this last night too. You'll never know the answer. Maybe I'll give you a 20% chance that the Cubs played this 100% right, and Owen Caissie came up at exactly the right time, and he's coming through because this was the time he would only succeed at. This is when he had to make his major league debut. They had to wait until he got to Canada, and that was when it would be the right moment for his development at exactly the right moment. But the reality, more likely, is the other 80%, or whatever number I said, don't let the facts get in the way of a good story, that he was probably ready a couple weeks earlier, and you could have done this, and you could have sent Tucker to the IL and saved him some of this angst.
Can I take this a step farther? On July 28th, Moises Ballesteros clears the bases in Milwaukee with a rope into the gap. It's August 20th. Kyle Tucker did not have a good month of July. There were clear signs that things were going astray in terms of his hard hit rate, the extra base hits, and just honestly him looking like Kyle Tucker, the top 10 offensive player over the last 3 years that he has been. That was also probably a perfect moment to probably maybe try and get him right. And all you had to do was say that he had a fracture in his hand. It's still bothering him, and we think with just a little time, we can get him healed up, and when he comes back, he's going to be ready to go full steam. And they could have given those at-bats to Moises Ballesteros, who had just smoked a double in a big series with the bases loaded. So, I mean, I get it. You want your best guys out there. But again, I think Kyle Tucker actually kind of wins the day on this one. To be honest with you, because Kyle Tucker is going to play out there no matter what. Kyle Tucker, everyone's like, oh, how many millions of dollars is Kyle Tucker losing? Well, Kyle Tucker doesn't care. Kyle Tucker just wants to play. Kyle Tucker just wants to help the team win, no matter how injured he is, no matter, honestly, how unproductive he's been over the last 3 weeks. So Kyle Tucker comes out great in this, but again, this is a situation that we've seen before with the Chicago Cubs, and unfortunately, I just don't think they handled it correctly. Or at the very least, they handled it too late, Luke.
Matt Wright asks, is the Tucker injury a reason, the Tucker hairline fracture that we have now seen confirmed by Craig Counsell, a reason why they may have not wanted to trade Owen Caissie? But that's another part that drives you a little bit crazy because they didn't call him up. It's like, I hope it wasn't because they were thinking, well, we're not going to call him up. We're going to leave him there just because we might possibly trade him and we don't want it, yada, yada.
Action figure that you want to open the box out, you know what I mean? Like, we can't play with the action figure. Leave him on the shelf.
I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't love the way it went down, but I love the way that Owen Caissie's playing. I love the way that Matt Shaw is playing. I hope that Kyle Tucker comes back and is a top 10 player in baseball. I hope PCA is able to fully break out of it. I hope Seiya starts hitting home runs again. And I hope they can run down the Brewers. All as I know, they've won 3 in a row. We'll eventually see Tucker. I don't know when that moment's going to be, but having Owen Caissie play the way he's playing has made it more palatable at the moment, right?
Real quick, stay tuned, Cubs fans, because now we're going to start playing the game of, if Kyle Tucker isn't in the lineup tomorrow, okay. If he's not in the lineup on Friday or Saturday, why don't you just IL the dude and bring someone else up? You know,
Why bring up Mo Baller?
At what point?
Another
how many? 5. What's the difference between 5 games and he's healed and you're trying to get his mechanics right? I mean, that's going to be another question that they're going to have to consider in the coming days. I do think, though, we do see him this weekend in Anaheim or Buena Park, for those that have been out there before. I think we see him in the lineup on Friday, at the very least.
It'll be interesting. I wouldn't mind if Caissie can stay doing a good job in providing the spark. I wouldn't mind seeing Seiya get a couple days off.
Owen Caissie, nice catch tonight, by the way. Nice little slider.
I mean, Shaw's play at third was spectacular. Owen Caissie's playing right and has been very good, solid.
Couple great turns and some double plays tonight.
They've had some good defense. When you talk about the Castro throw home last night, Shaw's had some great plays at third. Busch has made some nice picks over at first. The defenses, they're starting to do a lot of the little things again that they did early in the season that led to wins even when they weren't hitting home runs.
Yes.
Right? So they got the solo homer tonight, but they won because they did all those other things.
They beat the Brewers at their own game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they got better starting pitching than the Milwaukee Brewers. They got better bullpen. They had some nice velocity coming out of the bullpen tonight. They got themselves out of some jams. They turned some double plays. Again, Matt Shaw, huge web gem. Owen Caissie, another great play on the diving play there, even though he didn't do anything at the plate. And again, they got guys on, and when they got guys on, Michael Busch came through and executed in that moment, and that's what the Milwaukee Brewers have been doing for the last 6 weeks. So, joke's on you. How the tables have turned. The turning of the tables.
Matinee against Milwaukee. We remind you, use our partner Game Time if you're trying to get to that game tomorrow, huh?
Not a bad idea.
Good idea. Wait till the last second. You get those last-minute deals on Game Time. It's Shota Imanaga on the mound. We got one more Toyota Super Chat from our guy Steven.
Bring it home, Steven.
Move Kelly and PCA to 7 and 8. Enough already. That's the last negativity we will have on the show tonight. Also want to remind people that Corey and Brendan will have the podcast for you tomorrow because that's their normal Thursday Cubs-related podcast. On Friday, we don't have a show, but want to remind people that it was just announced tonight that Marquee will carry the Ryne Sandberg celebration of life and funeral 10 a.m. on Marquee. It is a private funeral service, but it will be broadcast on Marquee, and I believe also Gallagher Way in front of the Sandberg statue at Wrigley Field. I would think that on a nice, it's supposed to be like beautiful weather, a lot of people will want to go out there, pay their respects that way by watching it at Wrigley Field on Marquee, Gallagher Way. So if you're looking for that information, that is at 10 o'clock on Friday morning. Corey and Brendan probably remind you about it tomorrow. And hopefully at that point, Corey and Brendan will be talking about a Cubs win, their 4th straight, over the Brewers. Right now, it's 3. You know what's better than 3? 4. Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast tonight. We appreciate it. And don't forget, always fly the W.
We all silly like the